Good morning, guys. Let's get started. I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes.
Yeah. So, were you guys able to implement any DQ, which I have asked you on Friday? Anyone?
Oh, I didn't try. I tried for some time, but not free.
Okay. Yeah. What about others? So, okay, fine. So, if you are not done, please do it. So, it is nothing but a stack and queue implementation together. So it shouldn't be a big deal because we have implemented a stack, we have implemented a queue. We just need to club those, and then change the method names like pop method to poll last, poll method to poll first, peak method to peak first, and peak last, and add last, add first. You just need to create these methods. So then it will become a DQ, custom DQ implementation. Just try today. If who are not done, please try today. On Friday, we have also discussed about the priority queue, right? So priority queue, how the priority queue is different from other queues?
We are sorted.
Yeah, how it will be sorted? How does the priority queue is sorted?
It has a comparator or that comparable thing,
Yeah.
right?
So yeah, priority queue internally uses a comparator. If we do not pass anything, whatever the generics it is implementing a comparable, it will, and whatever the logic is used by the comparable, that will be followed. But if you are passing a external comparator here, the priority queue already in I am the generics in my priority queue is a department. Okay. Now department is a class which is implementing uh, department is a class which is implementing comparable interface. Okay. Now, whenever I'm coming to, whenever I'm passing the here new comparator, that means it won't be considering the comparable because you are passing the external comparator. If there is no comparator is passed, then it checks in the generics. If the generics is implementing a comparable, yes. If not, what happens? If I remove this implements keyword and if I execute this program, will it work or will it give an exception? Can I say it will throw the runtime exception? Have you guys seen on Friday?
Can you repeat the question? I didn't get it.
So I am creating a priority queue and the generics that I am passing, the generics is not implementing a comparable. So then if I run the program, what happens?
It will have a exception.
Yeah. So that means whenever you are implementing a priority queue, your generic should implement comparable interface, or you have to pass even if it is not implementing, then you have to pass a external comparator which tells you what is the order you have to store the data. So the priority queue is different from other queues in the way that it stores the data based on the comparator or comparable logic. So that's a different from other queues and the priority queue. Generally, this priority queue is used in the cache mechanism. So in our project, whenever you start the server or log into the application, so that time some of the default values, when I say we have months, in every application will have a registration. In the registration, they might ask you, what is your date of birth? In order to show the fill the date of birth, you should be given with January, February, March, Jan to December months. Are the months going to change? whenever I take any application, are the months are going to change? Jan to December?
Yes.
I mean, you can select any one of the 12, but do we have a 13th month which will come in 2024 or 2040? Or
No.
only 12 months will be there?
Only 2 months.
Only 12 months. And at the same time, whenever you want to pay assume that you wanted to pay the premium. So there will be monthly, quarterly, half yearly, yearly. Are there any other premium payment modes? Example I'm talking about. Monthly, quarterly, half yearly, yearly, correct? These are the things, right? So these are called as a static values. So in order to get the static values, what we do is we take the data from the, I mean, like, instead of loading these values every time, in the real-time projects, we use a cache mechanism. So this priority queue is used in the cache mechanism because it stores the data in the order manner. So whenever you look at the months, can I say months will be stored in the January, February, March, April, May, June, something like that order, right? Is it based different order? It is Jan to December. Jan to December, correct? So, I mean, like, you can provide you one specific order using a comparator, okay? So basically this priority queue is used in a comparators. Sorry, not comparator, my mistake. It's in a queue cache mechanism. Okay. So not only in the priority queue, not only the generics, when I say integer or all the wrapper classes, you can use your own class as well, which we have this is what we have discussed on Friday. So does anyone has any questions? Yeah. So now, so we have learned about the queue. We have learned about the what is another thing? DQ, correct? So DQ is something with double-ended queue which performs the operation from both the ends. Now we will learn about the blocking queue, and then we'll go into a stack implementation using queue implementation using stack. Now let us create what is a blocking queue. A blocking queue example I'm just writing. See here for blocking queue, we have two classes: linked blocking queue, array blocking queue. We can use anything. Okay. Now, if you look at here, LB dot, now instead of what I will do, I will provide the size as 5. Now, let me add. So generally, whenever any collection framework, if you are using, if I take the array list size as 5, can I add the 6th element and 7th element? Am I audible, guys?
Yes.
Yeah. So if my array list size is 5, can I add 6th, 7th elements?
Yeah, you can. Let's try.
I could not hear.
Yeah, you can because it's a array list.
Yeah. So, I mean, the collection framework is used for that only purpose. Now, if let's look at here. If I am trying, my size of the linked blocking queue is 5. And am I able to add beyond the 5? So it will say queue is full. You cannot add it. Let us see. Well, let us debug this code and see what is the issue. See, if I try to see 3, 4, so can I say now my queue is size is 5 and then I have 5 elements, correct? Now let's try to add the 6th element and see what it will throw. See, can I say queue is full, exception is thrown?
Yeah.
That means, can you increment the size of array once the linked blocking queue is created? Can you increment beyond the size?
No, you can't then.
Yeah, this is one of the, but is it happening in the priority queue? In the priority queue, just now we have taken. Did I mention any size?
No.
No. But are you able to add any data, right? So that means this is the specific limitation present only in the blocking queue. linked blocking queue or array blocking queue. Okay. So whatever the size you mentioned, you can add the data till that size only. Beyond that, you cannot add it. But look at here. What is the method I'm using? Add method. So whenever I'm using an add method, if I am trying to add the elements beyond the size, am I getting an exception?
Correct.
Yes. Remember this. So I'm using an add method, guys. I'll show you some other behavior. Now the immediate question will ask me, sir, this is a drawback of a array, correct? In the if my array size is 5, I cannot add the data beyond 5. But same thing is happening in the linked blocking queue. Then why should I use it? Don't worry, I'm going to explain. So this
Okay.
is, so whenever we are going to use a blocking queue, this is not the right option to add the data. So whenever you are using add method, then only you are getting a queue is full error, correct? Now,
Oh.
similarly, let's comment this code and let's try lb.poll. Now, do I have any data in the linked blocking queue? Do I have any data?
No.
No.
No. If I do not have a data and if I call the poll method, what happens? Will it throw an exception or will it throw null?
Null.
Null. And in the see, it is, I did not write a system.out.println, and so you are not seeing anything. Now in the similarly in a stack, if I call the pop method on an empty stack, what happens? In a stack,
Empty stack exception.
empty stack exception. In a queue, if I call poll method or add method, sorry, poll method or peak method on an empty queue, what happens? It
Null.
will return null. Correctly, null it is returning. So now if you just remember these lines. So if I am using a add method, if I am trying to add beyond the size, I am getting a queue is full exception. If I am trying to call the poll method on an empty queue, I am getting a null. Okay. Now, so but this is, so whenever you are say, as the name itself is telling that blocking queue internally uses a thread. Now let's go linked blocking queue. See, linked blocking queue is extending from blocking, implementing blocking queue interface. See, do you see that there is an interface called blocking queue? Yes. Now, blocking queue is extending from queue interface. That means now there are some differences between a blocking queue and queue. Now let us see. In the queue, you have an add method, poll method, etc. See, you have an add method? Yes. Do you have a poll method? Yes. See, in the whatever the method that I have used as of now, can I say these are the queue methods, poll method or add methods? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in the blocking queue, since it is another interface extending from this, can I say it will have its own methods in the blocking queue? Now let us see. Do you guys see one method called take, one method called put? Correct?
Okay.
Okay. Now these methods will provide the blocking operation. What is that blocking? I'm going to explain. See, inserts the element at specified insert the specified element into this queue, waiting if necessary for the space to be available. That means, for example, your linked blocking queue is 5, size is 5. Okay. Now you are trying to add a 6th element. Earlier, I'm getting a queue is full exception. But if I use this method to, so that means specifically whenever you are using a linked blocking queue, the method you have to use is put method, not the add method. Okay. Now, whenever you are using a put method and you are adding a 6th element, what happens? The thread will wait until the space to be available. Now, similarly, if I use a take method, say retrieves and removes the head of the queue, waiting if necessary until the element becomes available. Let me take one example and tell you. So every one of you have used an Uber or Ola? Have you guys used an Uber or
Yes, sir.
Ola? Yeah. So whenever you are using an Uber, you will put the two location, I mean like destination, source and destination locations. And then you will click on the book cab button. Whenever you are clicking on the book cab button, what is happening? So within your 3 to 4 kilometers of your location, it will try to identify the driver. Am I right?
Yes.
And then all the, not only one driver, there can be 10 drivers. all the trend drivers will be notified, correct? And they will be getting one beep symbol. Whoever clicks on that beep symbol, your ride is confirmed, and all other drivers will, the request will be vanished, correct? Have you seen this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that is a normal just what is happening in a Uber. Now in the Uber, for example, nearby, all the drivers are taking a ride or no drivers are available. Will you get exception, or it will say that, please wait, we are trying to get a best driver for you, please wait. Will it try or will it give you exception?
Will try.
It will try and say that, please wait, we are trying for a new driver, please wait, we are trying for a new driver. That means it is taking your time, but it is trying to get the driver. Similarly, same thing. So whenever you are using a, so now in this scenario, whatever I explained, can I say who, the person who is clicking on the book cab button, can I say he is a producer? He is requesting some assistance, right? I mean, he is requesting a cab. So the person who is booking a cab is called as a producer, and the person who, the driver, is called as a consumer. So generally in the producer consumer problem, the blocking queue will be used. Now, so when in your location, all the drivers are occupied, no driver is free, or there are no drivers in your location, like all are went away. I mean, in this 3 to 4 kilometers of radius, there are no drivers. Then whenever you click on the button, like book cab button, what happens? It will continuously search for the drivers in that area, correct? It will search for maybe a 30 seconds or 1 minute. If did not find, then it will throw one message. It will show one message that, please wait, we are trying for the best captain for you, right? And then it will keep on searching, but it will don't throw the exception. What is doing internally? If the driver is available, it is giving you. If not, it is waiting for the until the driver is available. Am I right? The request is waiting. The request is trying to get a driver. If the driver is not available, it is trying to keep on searching, correct? Am I right?
Yes, correct.
Similarly, in the linked blocking queue, whenever you are using a put method, if the queue size is 5 or 6, whatever the size you have mentioned, if the size is already filled, then if you are trying to add a new element, it won't throw the exception like add method. It will wait. Some other thread might delete the data. See, for example, in the same example, if I take, currently the size is 5. Now through one thread, I am adding the data. Okay. So whatever the thread I am adding the data, it is trying to add the 6th element. Will it throw? No. The 6th element will go into a wait mode. The thread which is inserting, it will go into a wait mode. And the thread, there might be some other thread which is taking out the data, right? Once the data is taken out, can I say the one empty space will be there? Say out of 5 elements, if I delete one element, can I say I have one element to insert the data? So now the thread which is waiting will come back to the execution. Let us see that program now. Now I'm writing this producer consumer example using threads case. Can someone tell me how to create a thread?
By extending
Just
the
either
class
implement
or
or
implementing.
Yeah, I'm creating one class called T1, thread1. Okay. Now extends or implements, correct? Extends thread class. And then I need to override the run method, right? Am I right or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now what am I trying to say? See, whether you are whenever you are booking a cab, only one you are sending a request, and that request will be going to the all other drivers. Now in the same thing, I want to show you the blocking operation. That means in this linked blocking queue, there are separate methods called put method and take method. These methods will provide the blocking operation. And in order to block, how can I know the blocking operation? In the Uber example or Ola example that I told, there are two things, correct? Producer and consumer. So now, who is a producer? The person who is booking a cab. Who is a consumer? The driver is a consumer. So these two are like a different threads. So I will create a 2 threads. And this working on what? In our example, it is a linked blocking queue. Both the threads are working on a same object. Now, How can can I add something in a run method? See, now in the run method, I want to use a one thread will try to insert the data, one thread will try to delete the data. That is nothing but inserting the data is nothing but producer, correct? Compare this with a whenever you're clicking a book cap button, you will be creating a request. Hence, you are called as a producer. So here I'm inserting the data to my linked blocking queue. Now, in order to insert the data, how do I do? Can I say lb.put? lb.put method I have to use. Am I right? Yes or no?
Mhm.
So whenever I'm trying to use lb.put, now I'm not directly doing in a main method. I'm trying to do example. I'm trying to show the example with the two threads because I want to create one producer thread. At the same time, I want to create one consumer thread and I want to show how the blocking operation is going to happen. Now, my thinking is here, both the threads should use the same object. Now, in order to write like this, can I write like this? If I write like this, what is a LB? It's a linked blocking queue object. I need an object because I want to say that thread 1 and thread 2 both will work, like put operation and take operation will happen on the same object. Can I take an object here? Can I add the linked blocking queue object here?
You can write a constructor.
Yeah. In the constructor, I can accept it, right? Yeah. Yeah. So now in the constructor, what I will do? Linked blocking queue integer. L. Now let's copy this. Can I say this dot L equal to? Okay. Now in what I will do in the run method, L dot put. Now what I said, I want to add beyond the size. Now from in the main method, whenever I'm creating a size, I will keep the size as 5. Now I will add the size as 7. Okay. Now I want to add the data. Surrounded with try and catch. Done. Okay. Now this is one thread. Now let me create a one more thread also similarly. Now instead of thread 1, let me call it as a producer. Okay. Now let's create one more consumer thread. In order to consumer thread, I will copy paste it and then change it to consumer. In the consumer thread, what I will do, I will do the take operation. I don't want to do the put operation. I want to call the take operation. What does the take method will do? Take method will return the object. I mean, take method is similar to the poll method, but it will provide a blocking operation. Poll method means it will remove and return the head of the queue. Same thing will be done by the take method as well. Now let's do the sys out. Okay. Now let's go to the main method. Now I have created this one. Now I need to call the threads, correct? How can I call the thread? Producer P equal to new producer. And then pass the linked blocking queue object. Similarly, let's create consumer. Consumer C equal to new consumer. Done. Okay. P dot start, C dot start. Can I say start method is the one which will create a thread? Yes. Now can I say this is my program now? Does everyone agree? Any questions on anything?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's debug, guys. Now thread is an independent path of execution. Who does not know about a thread? You can watch my demo video so that you will understand how to debug a thread, what is a thread, etc. Okay. So let's click on Java application. Say I'm creating see currently only main thread is executing. Okay. Now let's click on producer. See when I say p dot start, what it is doing, it is executing. See one thread is created. It's an independent path of execution. Now let's do see thread one, which is nothing but a consumer thread. It's another independent path of execution. Okay. Now let's look at here, guys. Now I'm going to the producer thread. And what is the size of my linked blocking queue?
5.
5. Now through the producer, what I'm doing, can I say I'm calling the put method? Put method, what it is doing? Insert the element at specified element at the tail of this queue, waiting if necessary. Now that means this is used to add the data. That means it is similar to the add method only, but only the difference is if you are calling an add method, cannot add the data beyond the size and it will throw the exception. But using a put method, even if you're trying to add it, it will go into a wait mode. Look at here. So currently 1 element, okay? 2 element, 3rd element, 4th element, 5th element. Now, can I say my size is full now?
Yeah.
5 elements I have added. Now, if I am adding a 6th element using a add method, what is happening?
Has to go in wait.
No, through add method.
Exception will be.
I am getting an exception, right? Now, if I debug now, see here, from this line, currently producer thread is trying to add the size element beyond the size. Now, let us take an example. You are booking a cab, but the no drivers are there. What happens? It will keep on searching, and then that your request will go into a wait mode until the driver is available. Look at here. If I click on F8, can I say my thread is went into wait mode? That means it is stepping. Is it throwing any exception?
No.
Does it throw any exception? No. That means it is waiting for someone to delete the data from this queue, correct? If someone deletes the data, see currently what is the size of a queue? 5. When it went to waiting, whenever you're trying to add a 6th element, because there is no space. So the put method definition is waiting if necessary for the space to become available. That means till the space is becoming available. Can I say that my producer thread went into wait mode now? Am I right?
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
let's go to see. Now I have another thread called consumer. So through consumer, am I taking the data from the same object? Look at here. So now if I call the take method, see if I call the take method, what happens? What does the take method will do? See from this, currently 5 elements are there. Can I say it will delete 1 element? Yes or no?
Yeah.
It will once it is deleted the element, what happens? Your size will become 4. Now the thread which is waiting earlier from this line, the thread has went into wait mode. Can I say that will come back to the execution? Because there is a space, right? Let's see. See, immediately it will add the data. Look at here. See 10, and is the thread started executing? Look at here, correct? See again it adds, see from this line it went into a wait mode. Again that is added. See now the data has become 5 again. Hope you understand.
Yeah, it's understandable. Can you make the put instead of 10 the index 0 to 5 because it's confusing to put it.
What I could not understand. Okay, index.
Instead
Okay.
of 10,
Okay, fine.
That way it is easy to visualize.
Let's put I. Okay. No. Is this the one you want? I value, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Even there, other consumer also it's I or
No, consumer take method. See, what does the poll method
take?
take?
Yeah. So no parameter. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So let's see. I am doing put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Now
so
the queue is full.
Yeah, queue is full 0 to 4. Okay. Now whenever I execute, so now what is the value of I? 5th. 5.
Yeah.
I value you are trying to put it. At this time it will go into a wait mode. Correct? Done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now whenever I take one element, what is the element will be taken out? 0. Correct?
0
if I take 0, done. Now immediately 5 is added. Look at here. If you look at this one, 5 is added because the other thread is adding the 5. Correct? See, and it has come back to the execution. Right? Now if I execute again, what is my size? 5. But can I say again put method will go into a wait mode? Correct? See, it went into wait mode. You do not have a control here, correct? That yellow color debug window, is it coming here? No. It is stepping. Now let's do this one. Now, if I call the take method again, so can I say it will take one, correct? Done. Do you have the space now? Again, yes, it is executing now.
Got it.
Okay. Now it's now what am I doing? First, I am calling the producer method. Okay. And then if the size, say producer method is using, producer thread is using a put method. If the size is completed, the thread is going into a wait mode. Now what we'll do is, see, whenever you are executing a thread, you cannot always say that producer thread will execute first. No, right? Because I did not provided any dependency using join method. Now let us execute the consumer thread once. Currently, what is the size? Linked blocking queue?
Empty. Zero.
Empty. Now, can it can also happen that, see, earlier in the earlier example, which thread I started executing? Producer thread. It is adding the data. Now, in real scenario, whenever you run the program, consumer thread also can get a chance to execute first, correct? Now, whenever the thread queue is empty and you are calling a poll method, what happens? On an empty queue, if I call the poll method or peak method, what happens?
Null
Will be thrown, correct? Now let us see whether I am getting a null. Look at here. What does the take method is telling? Retrieves and removes the head of the queue, waiting if necessary until an element becomes available, correct? Now, see, do you have any element in the linked blocking queue? No, there are no elements. That means, see, if the element is not available, then what it will do? It will go into a wait mode until the element becomes available, correct? Until the put method inserts the element, it will not be executing. See, from this line, it will go into a wait mode. Look at here. Can I say it went into a wait mode?
Yeah.
Yes. Now let's go to the producer and then add the data. See, whenever I add the data, what I'm adding? Put. But already take method is waiting for the element to be available. Once I insert the element, immediately take method is coming back to the execution. Look at here. And it is doing the output for 0. Right? So this is called as a producer consumer problem. And whenever you are
specific question, sir. So it's a very good to explain this. But in a real-time scenario, if you want to draw the analogy, right? The producer is waiting for a consumer and the put and take are waiting each other, right? So in order to avoid it, can I have, say, for instance, if I am a producer, I will try this for a Uber, then I will go to Lyft or some other thing, right? I cannot indefinitely wait forever. So
that is what
that.
Yeah. So you have the messaging queues, right? RabbitMQ, Apache MQ, Kafka.
Yeah, correct? That is the implementation. My question is there a parameter in take which will have the time units, how long I should wait or how long I should be?
Yeah, let's see the blocking
output.
Okay.
The take output, it should have a parameter, right?
No. So let's see here. So
there is
here,
nothing like that.
Yeah. So this take method does not take anything. No, there is one method called offer, which takes a time unit. Retrieves and removes the head of this queue, waiting if necessary until. So this is about a take method. But in waiting specified time necessary to become. See, look at here. If you look at the offer method, see, inserts and specified element to this queue, waiting up to the specified wait time if necessary, space to available. Now, what is the method I have used? Put method, right? But if you are using an offer method, you also have a timeout. That means 2 minutes. 2, you can mention the long 2 and time unit. Is the time unit?
But offer will not do any damage, right? It will not.
It will add the data. It will add the data.
Okay.
It will see whenever put method I am calling. If my size is full, can I say it will go into wait mode?
Yeah.
And indefinitely it is waiting, correct? Until the take method is taking out the data. Am I right?
Yeah.
But your question is, I don't want to wait indefinitely. I want to wait for only 2 minutes and then come back.
Yeah.
Right? So using an offer method, you can mention the time here. If you look at the definition here, inserts the specified element to this queue, waiting up to the specified wait time if necessary for the space to become available.
Okay, got it. Okay. So it will go to the next thing if it is timeout, right? That's what the offer method will do.
Yes.
And similar to that, the take method also indefinitely, the driver is also waiting if there is no
See, poll.
passenger.
Yeah,
Poll.
it is also. So
Oh, it is
retrieves and
also-
removes the head of the queue, waiting up to the specified wait time until that element becomes available.
Okay, so equivalent of take and poll is the one equivalent for that.
A poll which takes 2 arguments. General
got
poll
it.
will give you the null if the element is not available. Okay, if the queue is
Mhm.
empty, it will give you null. But you are calling a method called poll which takes a time. It will behave like a, see, this poll method which takes 2 arguments is not there in the queue. It is there in the blocking queue. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hope you understand.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I understood. Yeah.
So basically, so whenever you are using a blocking queue, now can I say if I am trying to add the data using a add method, then what is happening? It is not allowing me. That means it's a drawback, like whatever the drawback is there in the array, the same drawback is present. But if I'm using a producer consumer, so am I getting an array a problem? Am I able to add the beyond the size or within the size? No, correct? It is allowing me, right? So if you are using a blocking queue, then what are the operations to use make sense? Put method, take method, offer method, poll method, which takes 2 arguments, correct?
Why did they have that add method? I mean, why do
See,
they have it?
no, the reason is, what is your blocking queue is doing? Blocking queue is extending from queue interface, correct?
Okay.
Now your linked blocking queue is first implementing blocking queue. That means blocking queue is internally extending from queue interface. So your child class should have all the methods implemented, right? Because
Yeah. Okay.
it is, say you cannot bypass. For example, if you remove the add method implementation from here, or else it is there in the parent classes. See, in the
Can't we make it
abstract,
as final or anything to not to inherit that add?
see, generally in an interface, you have a method. Can you make it as a final interface?
No, we can't make.
So queue is an interface. Okay.
Okay.
So in the queue, whenever, see, abstract queue is a class which is implementing queue interface. That means, do I have an option to not to override the add method?
We can't.
Right now, so if you don't, if that means the only way to make not to make your child class not as an abstract, you have to see whether the linked blocking queue is implementing a blocking queue. Blocking queue can extend another interface, that can extend another interface. That means till the parent hierarchy, how many interfaces are there? In all those interfaces, any number of abstract methods will be there. All those should be overridden in your child class or parent class of this child class. Then only you don't get an exception, correct? If not, your child class will become abstract, right?
Yeah.
So it's a, the queue is a general behavior. Okay. Now, but whenever you want to use a linked blocking queue, what is the best that you have to use? Put method, offer method, take method, and poll method, right?
Yep. Got it. Thank you.
Any questions, guys? So this is very, very important, guys. In some of the interviews, they'll ask you what is a producer consumer problem. Then you have to explain like this.
But is that similarly for array blocking queue also the same concept?
Yeah, same thing.
So what is the difference then?
See, array blocking queue. See here, linked blocking queue. Internally it is using a linked list of a structure. And if you don't mention any size, what is the size it is getting? Integer max value, correct? If you remember, in the earlier I have told, array blocking queue, you cannot create a array blocking queue object without providing the data. You have to provide the size. There is no default constructor in the array blocking queue. See, I'm getting a compilation error, right?
Yeah.
See, array blocking queue, you have to provide the size. Okay. For linked blocking queue, if you do not provide a size, the internal data structure size would be integer max value. For array blocking queue, it internally uses an array kind of a structure. Linked blocking queue uses a linked list like node. Okay.
But if you provide the size, then it is bound to that size. You can't in the linked
the same, but
queue, right?
See, it's a blocking queue. Whether you are providing a size or you are not providing, what is happening? It is, you have to use a put method, take method, right?
But I'm talking about the linked blocking queue. If I don't provide, right, it will accept the thread till that maximum integer value, right?
Yes, but that is also not a right approach.
not right, because threads will be more, right? Till the
Yes.
integer value on each.
Yeah. Yes. So continuously you are adding. See, what is the advantage you are doing? You do not want to allocate the memory just like that. Correctly, if I create a my initial array list size is 100 or vector. Let us take vector is initially size I have created 100. Now once I am adding the 101 element, can I say my size will become double? My size will become 200. Correct. So,
Right,
but I
correct.
just wanted to add only 101 elements. Can I say remaining 99 positions I am wasting memory? Yes.
Yeah.
But in the linked blocking queue, your size is fixed. Once the data is removed, that means it is kind of a queue mechanisms only you can use it. Not wherever you want, but you have like someone is putting, someone is taking out. Then only you want to call it, then you have to use this. Okay. So this is very, very important topic, guys. So, and if you do not write a threads kind of a program, you never understand why it is providing, when it is doing a blocking operation, when it is doing a non-blocking operation, guys. Okay. So this is the best thing that I can say. So the question that will be asked in the interview is, write a program to show the blocking producer consumer problem or blocking queue implementation. So you have to write like this. Any questions, anyone? So those who have joined late, I request you to, I hope you understand, but if you do not understand, please watch the video and you can ask me the questions in the tomorrow class. Any questions? Akshay, Harish, Moli, Adish, Satish, Rashid, Sachin, Shravani, Raj. Any question? No. Okay, fine. Thank you. Even if you have a question, don't worry. Like if you missed some part of watching it, please watch the video and then you can ask me the questions in tomorrow class. And I request you to write this program. This program, whenever I write, it looks so simple, but it is not that simple. You need to think about it whenever you're writing a code. So please write this code on your own and then let me know where you stuck so that I can explain again. Okay.
So in the other thread class, you explained about the fixed thread code, right? Same thing. The implementation would have followed the same, right?
Yeah. So the concept is same here. If you are using a fixed thread pool or something, not the fixed thread pool, I see it is not a best example of a fixed thread pool. It is like a object class, object lock, class lock. I've used a bank ATM thread and all, right? Google Pay thread, and I have passed the bank object.
Fixed thread pool will have that the thread pool executor, it calls the link to blocking.
You don't need to create a producer thread, consumer thread.
Correct,
so
correct.
Instead of that, what you need to do, you can create a thread pool and the size of the thread is 2.
Yeah.
Okay. And then automatically it will create a threads for you. You don't need to call
what
the
I'm saying
start
is,
method.
What I'm saying is inside the new fixed thread pool implementation in Java, they are using the linked blocking
queue. Yes. Yes. That is the reason I told, whenever I was explaining that one, I said like it will be, you will get to know in
audible.
In the main method, if I submit the task is going to the queue. Now, assume that there are only 3 times I have executed. I hope you are able to hear me.
Yeah, now we are able to.
Yeah. So I executed only the for loop 3 times. 3 threads are there. Those 3 threads started executing. Now, after that, the threads will be waiting for the task to be available. Correct? Now, once the task is going to the queue, I mean, this executed.execute submit method or execute method will add the data to the queue. Now, and the threads will take the data from the queue. That means who is a producer? The submit method is adding the data to the queue. Who is a consumer? Thread is taking the data from the queue.
The consumer. Yes.
So, I mean, like, in order to see there is a scenario of producer consumer. Hence, they are using a linked blocking queue. Hope you understand.
Yes.
And again, the same topic I'm going to explain in the threads also. because see, this topic is belongs to a thread as well as it belongs to a collection also. That's the reason I'm explaining this in both the classes. Okay. Any questions, guys? So if no questions, so we have another 9 minutes of time. In this 9 minutes, we cannot complete the stack implementation using queue or queue implementation using stack. So what I will do is I will leave you little early today. So the work for today is please implement the DQ. Whatever you have tried or whoever tried or not tried, please implement the DQ implementation, custom DQ implementation. You know the stack, you know the queue. Write a program to implement the DQ, and at the same time, this producer consumer problem, whatever I have written, write on your own. I will share this code with you, but be honest for yourself and don't look at the code. First, write it on your own. Write the code, and if you're stopped somewhere, just try. Where am I stopped? Why am I stopping? Etc. And still, if you're not getting, then only look at the code. I just wanted to know that you can look at yourself where you stand, right? So just look at, try it. And if you're not getting, then only look at my code. Okay. So in the tomorrow class, we are going to look at queue implementation using stack and stack implementation using queue. After these two topics, we are going for a tree. In the tree concept, first I'm going to explain what is a tree. And then we are going for a in-order, pre-order, post-order. If you know the tree, internally tree map, tree set implementation, you will be knowing because it is using a tree kind of a structure only. Okay. So if no question, that's all for today, guys. I'll put the homework in the WhatsApp group. Any questions, anyone?
No, sir.
No, thank you.
No, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, guys. For those who are multi-threading, we'll see you in multi-threading class. And for those remaining, we'll see you tomorrow, guys. Thank you.